from the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Happy Monday, everyone. I've got a special guest on the Practitioner Brief today, so stay tuned. I'll bring him in. And well, he's on the screen right under me, right? Eric Krohn, the legend, the man. Good morning. Welcome.
Yep, morning, James. It is Monday, right? We're just getting started.
It is Monday. We're just getting started, but a few things, folks. First of all, if you've not subscribed to the show, please make sure to do so right now. Go to YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or your favorite podcast listening platform. Make sure to give us a follow, a like, and a thumbs up, and a 5-star review on your favorite podcast listening platform. It's a magnificent Monday. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Good morning, Mr. McQuiggan, and happy Monday. And he says, hello, Eric. So you've already got your first shout out of the day from Mr. McQuiggan, who kicked off National Cyber Security Awareness Month with me on Friday. We did an awesome live. You can go and check it out on our YouTube page or here in the LinkedIn or here in our LinkedIn page below. Just scroll down. It'll be the last video we posted. A lot of great stuff going on, folks, but go check out the latest CISO talk that dropped on Thursday with Brian Jack. He's the CISO over at KnowBe4. So go check it out. You don't want to miss it as well. And Eric, Monday, James McQuiggan says you're the man, the myth, and Javad PA.
Yeah. My colleague Javad is always trying to convince people I'm his personal assistant. But
he tried to convince me that a few times. I was like, I don't buy into that. I don't buy into it.
Yeah, thanks for perpetuating that, James. Really appreciate it.
All right, folks. Before we get started on today's show, because we've got a busy one, little coffee cup cheers. My beautiful, lovely double espresso by Illy. Illy, look at that foam, man. Look at that. That's just, see how that foam just sticks to the glass? That's just
impressive.
That is a very impressive cup of coffee.
I just have coffee.
All right. Well, coffee cup cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
All right. We've got 5 stories, but 2. One of them is really our headline story. Everything else we're kind of going to touch on briefly, and this is this one. Cyber criminals took thousands out of CoinBase customers using a multi-factor authentication flaw. So, little shameless promotion. Just about a month ago, I had Roger Grimes on, and we did a webinar on hacking MFA. We talked about the proper deployment of MFA during that webinar. Well, now we know that the world's largest crypto exchange, Coinbase, disclosed that a threat actor stole crypto from 6,000 customers after using a vulnerability to bypass the company's SMS MFA security feature. Coinbase, which is the world's second largest cryptocurrency exchange, has 68 million users from over 100 countries. In a notification sent to customers that were affected by it, Coinbase explains that between March and May 20th of 2021, a threat actor conducted a hacking campaign to breach Coinbase customers' accounts and steal cryptocurrency. In order to conduct the attack, Coinbase says the following. The attackers needed to know the customer's email address and password and phone number and have access to the email account. They needed all 4 things, all 4. Again, let me repeat those. Email, password, phone number, and access to the email account. What's unknown is how the threat actor gained access to this information. Coinbase believes it was through a phishing campaign targeting Coinbase customers to steal account credentials, which have been common. But then again, how did they know the Coinbase customer email address to begin with? Light bulb turn on. It's Monday morning, and we're already demystifying this stuff, Eric. What's your take on this?
Yeah, so MFA, I'm a believer in MFA. I really like MFA, but I'm also a realist in that MFA doesn't solve your other problems, especially if you're sloppy with other things. Now, the fact that they had 6,000 customers, pretty much everything. I mean, we're talking email, phone number. You read it all off there. There's a ton of stuff there. That comes from something else. And I don't know that it's just going to be phishing campaigns. So often we see these things where it's information from another breach and passwords are reused. And so what do? They use that to get into an email account, and then they own that and, right? That's an interesting point, though, that targeting Coinbase users. How did they figure that out? Do they go to Coinbase forums and try to find places? I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. My skeptical mind goes straight to insider threat, where somebody's dropping a list of things. But, again, this is another example where MFA does not solve being sloppy with other stuff. It just doesn't.
This also points out to the fact that Coinbase did not have a full-time CISO until just about a month and a half ago.
And that's interesting, given how often these cryptocurrency folks are targeted by things, whether it's SIM swapping or other sorts of ways like that. You would think that they would be on top of that with respect to having a CISO in place.
I've learned not to you would think anymore.
right. Well, how often are we doing, one of these after the fact sort of, hot washes?
I've learned to not do that. Yeah. But we'll give a quick shout out to Ashley, who says, good morning and happy Monday. Happy Monday indeed. Ashley, I hope you had a magnificent weekend. If you are a victim of this, according to Coinbase, it is strongly recommended that you change your passwords immediately. Coinbase also recommends to switch to a more secure MFA method like hardware security key or an authentication app. I'm all for an authentication app, folks. All right. One thing I will tell you, though, when you do change your phone, when you upgrade your device, make sure you know to move over your MFA app with you. Otherwise, you could be in a world of hurt. And never trade in your old phone for your new phone without first making sure that your MFA has actually passed through. Most people are like, did my contacts come through? Did my apps come through? Make sure your MFA app is in there. All right, folks, we'll move to a announcement by the U.S. to work with 30 countries to tackle ransomware. This White House does not stop talking cybersecurity, which is kind of nice, but at the same time, are you just talking or are you actually doing something? So the U.S., according to a White House press release, said that the U.S. will bring 30 countries to accelerate our cooperation in combating cybercrime, improving law enforcement collaboration stemming from the illicit use of crypto, and engaging on these issues diplomatically. Your thoughts, Mr. Crone?
Well, I heard a lot of words there and then something about diplomacy. I didn't really hear anything substantial happening there. And we've heard noise. Now, there's a good thing about it coming from the top, though. And that is, at least I'm seeing a lot more, awareness of this stuff. I mean, obviously, awareness is always a problem with this, with respect to organizations and even smaller organizations taking this seriously. Like, not everybody is exposed to the cybersecurity realm like we are. So when it comes from the top, when it comes from White House statements and things like that, it at least tells people that aren't otherwise in technology that there's something serious going on here. I see this as more bluster, more just words, honestly.
Look, you show me when 30 nations coming together solved a problem, and I've got a big bridge in Brooklyn I'm willing to sell you.
Yeah. This is so, it's just political. It's just whatever. Somebody wanted to put their on a committee on their CV or resume or something. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Good morning to Amal, who's joining us. Thank you for being here as well. Folks, we'll move to another story where Rasmus Sten, a software engineer with F-Secure, has released a proof of concept exploit code for a macOS Gatekeeper bypass that Apple patched in April of this year. The POS exploits targets CVE 2021-1810. It's a vulnerability that can lead to the bypass of all three protections that Apple implemented against malicious file downloads, namely file quarantine, Gatekeeper, and notarization. The issue was found in the archive utility component of macOS Bixer and Catalina and can be exploited by using a specially crafted zip file. It does require to trick users to download and opening the archives. Eric, you're kind of an expert at that. How realistic is this exploit for individuals?
I mean, getting people to open stuff is somewhat trivial. I mean, unfortunately, it is. This is an interesting one, 886 character file path thing. And eventually it drops basically that com.apple quarantine end, which he uses. It's an interesting exploit. I honestly don't know. Getting people to click on things is fairly easy. Zip files, though, tend to get grabbed pretty often by gateways and stuff like that. We don't let that stuff just pop into anybody's inbox. At least if you are, please stop that right now.
Yeah.
There's rarely a reason to be allowing zip files to come in like that, but they get pretty creative with, encrypting them and ways to try to obfuscate them too. But
here's the thing. There's no reason for you to have a zip file. If you're on Microsoft, use SharePoint or OneDrive and have people load stuff and share documents that way, or Dropbox. I can name them, although that'll get us into the Pandora Papers, which I'm saving for tomorrow. So good morning to Matt Lee. Interesting discourse regarding what to take seriously and what is just noise. Cheers. That's from Amal. Happy Monday from Corinne. Let's talk about scum. Scum is this right here. A transnational fraud ring stole millions from Army members and veterans. Frederick Brown, a disgraced former U.S. Army contractor, was sentenced today to not enough time in prison, 151 months, after admitting to his role in a conspiracy that targeted thousands of U.S. service members and veterans and caused millions of dollars in losses. Brown was one of the 5 fraudsters charged with carrying out an identity theft and fraud scheme that targeted service members, both active duty, reserve, and National Guard, as well as veterans, their dependents, and civilians employed by the DoD, according to a 14-count indictment that was unsealed in August of 2019. Brown pleaded guilty in October of 19 and admitted that he stole PII of thousands of military members between July 2014 and September of 2015, including but not limited to names, social security numbers, DoD ID numbers, dates of birth, and contact information. He harvested the PII by taking photos of his screen while being logged into his Armed Forces Health Longitude Technology application account. The theft of the PII can significantly harm their military service members, veterans, and their families. It was stolen to breach bank accounts, is what the indictment continues to say, to remit money, conceal, and launder stolen funds. Not only did he get 151 months in prison, he was also ordered to pay $2,331,639.85 in restitution and will be placed on supervised release for 3 years, which is not enough time once he's done from prison. Eric.
I think it's great that they included that 85 cents in there. That's going to make all the difference in the world, right? No, this, so I agree with you 100%. I'm ex-military. I worked for DoD for about 10 years with the Army as a contractor. And I love that this scum was taken down. I hope that 151 months isn't somewhere pleasurable like Leavenworth. This is just wrong. But it's also, to me, it's a lesson in, we have all these technical controls, disabling print screen and all this kind of stuff that we do to try to keep information from going out through the hands of a insider threat. And this guy bypassed it all with basically a camera phone. If they try hard enough, this goes back to, again, and I hate to harp on this, but it is a human problem, a lot of cases. This is a person that went in there with the intent to do this. And with that intent, they were able to steal a lot of stuff here. I mean, a bunch of general officers, et cetera, et cetera. And I really hate to see people prey on these folks. I mean, it's bad enough with
I think you should get military justice.
Yeah.
There's a special place on base for people like Mr. Brown here.
Yeah. Well, Leavenworth is not a pretty place to be.
They're not going to send him to Leavenworth.
As a contractor, I don't think he's going to go anywhere fun like that. But I would love to see something like that happen, honestly.
I think he should have been court-martialed and given military justice. That, my friend, would have been worth it just for me. Amal has a really funny, if you zip it, ha.
Nice. Well done.
All right, folks, we wrap up today's show. We've just got another minute left here with a team of academics from the University of Maryland discovering a previously hidden layer in China's Great Firewall censorship system. The Chinese Great Firewall is the way the Chinese Communist Party ensures that the people of China, the citizens of China, cannot freely communicate with the rest of the world or get information that has not been censored by the Chinese firewall. So it's a way to control their population. And the first and the oldest way their Great Firewall works is at intercepting HTTPS connections in their incipient stages, and then looking at the connection data field called SNI, which exposes a domain, the domain the user is trying to access. Even if they can't decrypt the content of the actual HTTPS connection, the SNI field allows the Chinese government to block users from accessing unwanted sites. We're seeing that with the Pandora Papers now, folks. The second one was introduced last year. It's similar to the first, but caters to HTTPS connections that use modern protocols that encrypt the SNI fields as well. Where, because this system can't view what domain users are trying to access, the censorship mechanism is much more blunt, because the GFW, the Chinese Great Firewall, simply blocks all connections where the SNI fields are detected. The second system is not broadly deployed, as censors are still testing its capabilities. That is a scary, scary thought. The research paper that was published this week, academics from the University of Maryland revealed that they found a secondary HTTPS SNI filtering system working in parallel with the first. They happen, like all things in great research, they just happen to stumble on it. And they've looked at it. They didn't completely understand it, but now they understand that it is not seeing the same behavior as other protocols. And we'll see what happens. But again, you can see here a little bit of the way this operates, and China continues to just be China.
That's one way to put it. And their heavy-handed ES&I approach there, which is can't see it, you don't go anywhere. That's not surprising there. It is interesting that they're doing the multi-layers. Of course, this is just like anything else. It's going to be evolving. It's whack-a-mole for them too. So you have people that are over there that are finding ways around certain things. And so what are they doing? They're putting new stuff in. I think it's interesting. I actually like that graphic that was up there because it does demonstrate something that we talk about sometimes, which is how layered defenses work. And even if these are 87% and 88%, they come out to a 98% combined rate. It's, it demonstrates how those different layers work. Not that I like it in this particular case, but to me, it always just seems rough when you have to go through this amount of censorship in order to, I guess, maintain your position in the world or whatever. And just, keeping information from people always kind of gets me in the wrong spot there.
Indeed, folks. We're going to talk about a lot of that tomorrow. I'll be talking briefly about the Pandora Papers, but I've got a little thing I'm trying to polish there for the message. That'll be there tomorrow. Folks, that's it for our show today. I do want to wrap up. We're a bit over time. Eric Crone, thank you so much for being with us, man. I really do appreciate your time. Folks, please make sure to subscribe. Check it out. On Thursday of this week, we'll also have another guest on the Practitioner Brief. Like I said, every Thursday this week, I've got a guest coming on. This week is going to be a special one as well. Don't go anywhere. Yella from Know Before will be joining me. So it'll be magnificent. That's, again, we'll be here again all week, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Happy Monday. Get charged up. Get ready. It's going to be a busy week, folks. Until then, stay cyber safe. Cheers, everyone.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.